Hello and welcome to Eyewitness Report on Channels Television. I'm Chris Elems. Today, the challenges of water hyacinth on our waterways meets a creative mind. The Kankara abducted boys may have returned. We take a closer look at Kankara and its environment. Join us. Water hyacinth is a type of plant that floats on water with very long root system. It impedes navigation and also fishing activities. No one has been able to tell exactly how it came to be, but the impact cannot be undermined. Today we feature an individual's effort to turn these menace into very creative items. Commuting in Lagos is getting increasingly difficult by the day, as a greater number of Lagosians prefer to go by road other than any other means of transportation. The resultant pressure on infrastructure and the average road user is quite daunting. In a bid to provide viable alternative for our teeming residents, the Lagos State government offers water transportation since 1/5 of Lagos is made up of inland waterways. There are also over 30 waterways routes, 15 of which are major. However, the issue of safety standards and security would eventually determine if the residents embrace this initiative or not. This gave rise to several agencies, including the Lagos State Water Authority (LASWA), which is meant to regulate activities on the waterways.
How you doing?
The managing director of the agency, Emmanuel Oluwadamilola, says the Lagos State government is making all efforts to ensure water transportation becomes the go-to means of getting around the state.
What the Lagos State has focused on and its initiatives are geared towards ensuring that safety measures are put in place on the waterways. And when we talk about safety, what are we talking about? We're talking about, first of all, the passengers' responsibility to have their life jackets on, the operators providing these life jackets. So the state government has ensured through enforcement of appropriate life jackets on its waterways, whilst also understanding that it's a sector that needs to be subsidized one way or the other. So we've also purchased 2,000 life jackets this year, which we've given out to the various divisions within the state. That's on the life jacket level. And the state government, through the Ministry of Waterfront and Infrastructure Development, is currently developing 7 jetties and terminals around the state as well. Several of these projects are upgrading them because of the current realities we have to meet up with the passenger demands, and also the more standard ferries we have now. So there's a need to upgrade those infrastructure. So the terminals and jets are being also upgraded, and these are in the various sectors, various units, the various axes within the state.
Approximately 100,000 people currently make use of water transportation daily. This is a far cry from where a state of over 20 million people would want to be.
We want to see how those numbers, like I said, can be doubled. And that's just at the very barest minimum, to see how we can double those numbers. Because apart from the things I've mentioned previously, what we're doing on the waterways, there's also the awareness and sensitization of where these jetties are. How do I have to be safe on the waterways? And then even for the boat personnel, which is the boat captains and deckhands, just last week we trained over 105 boat captains in the Badagry axis, because we saw that there's a lot of movement in that axis. The Korodu to the island axis is quite viable, it's ongoing, but as new areas open up, we want to ensure that those boat captains and personnel, they understand the passengers' demands, they understand how a passenger should be safe, they understand the operational procedures of the waterways as well. So we went to go and do that in Badagry, and we're going to be doing that obviously in 2021 in other areas as well.
While plastics and other forms of debris pose a lot of threat to smooth sail, there appears to be more challenges thrown into the mix by nature. Communities around the waterways usually welcome an unwanted visitor at this period of the year. It is the water hyacinth, a menace that has defied every possible means of eradication. And this is bad news to water transportation and fishing. Yeah. All right. Wish us a safe ride on the Lagos waters. Water hyacinth is a free-flowing perennial aquatic plant native to tropical and subtropical South America. With broad, thick, glossy, ovate leaves, water hyacinth may rise above the surface of the water as much as 1 meter, that's 3 feet in height. It is one of the fastest growing plants known. Water hyacinth reproduces primarily by way of runners, which eventually form daughter plants. Each plant additionally can produce thousands of seeds each year, and these seeds can remain viable for more than 28 years. Around the Bariga waterside, a number of boats appear marooned by the seaweed, and it requires a lot of maneuvering by the fishermen to get them in or out. Fishing is becoming very difficult around this axis. The presence of water hyacinth is believed to have contributed. And for the boat riders, the water hyacinth on the water is danger lurking around.
It damaged the gearbox, or you're unable to navigate freely, and 2, it brings in dangerous animal in, whereby if the water hyacinth is closer to where you bat your boat, it might bring in, number 1, snake, water snake, dangerous thing like crocodile, all those things. Then they can penetrate inside the boat, and it can cause hazard on water. So it's better and it's good. They clean it up and they remove it. Though this is the season, by February it will leave.
This seaweed, which is a global phenomenon according to the managing director of LASWA, is a source of worries to the state government as well. A reason the Lagos state government is accessing creative ways of dealing with it.
Every year now, once the water hyacinth comes, we focus on the areas where we know it's impeding current, we'll say boat operators, fishermen. We focus on those areas. So this year, for example, we went on the Korodo axis and also the Ekpe axis, right? And what we did was we packed that water hyacinth. The communities render up volunteers who get trained in how you can transform these water hyacinths into handcrafted products. So we're seeing that there's a cycle there. So the state government has started that, and we intend to scale that up in 2021 to actually make that become a more viable industry, because if we have so much of it, we might as well begin to make good use of it. So that's what we're able to do, transforming waste to wealth with the water hyacinth. And this year, interestingly, beyond transforming them into handcrafted products, for the first time, we transformed them into what we call biochar. And that biochar was very, very interesting, because it now becomes something where even the poultry farmers use, and it's very useful for them on their farms as well.
Under the bridge at Falomo, some members of one of the communities affected by the seaweed are being taught how to be creative with the plants. At the end of the day, they should have acquired the set skills needed to transform these waste to wealth. The participants are delighted to be part of this initiative.
I'm here to learn how to make a use of water hyacinth. It's a very nice something to do, and I appreciate the opportunity given to me. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
The next plan right now is to learn how to decorate that star, then I'll use it as Christmas decoration. That's one. Then two, to sell it to people.
The instructors, who were at some point students themselves, take time out to put the participants through the process of weaving of various household items, including table mats, using dried water hyacinth.
When the person starts for the first time, he needs to take 4 strands of the wheat of the water hyacinth. This is it. As you can see, you can take 4. So you take 1 out of the 4 like this. You need to fold it into 2. After that, you fold this one into 2. Then you will take another one. You bring it like this. The essence of doing this is to cover the mouth. So now you will find how you are going to close this place also. So you will now bring this one like this. So after this one, then you are now going to look how you will close this one. Then you bring it like this. Then you put on inside the first one that you first fold, like this. Then, after you do it like this, you need to tighten it. You will tighten it. After this one, you need to separate it. This is how to start it, and that is how your start will look like.
The initiative is a brainchild of a social entrepreneur, Achenyo Idachabaubaro, who shows us some of the items they've made using the seaweed. She says upon her return to the country in 2009, she saw a challenge that needed to be addressed and given a long-term solution.
There was obviously a need. There was a problem that needed to be solved. Actually, 2 problems that needed to be solved. And in looking at the potential of what this menace weed, this environmental menace weed could do, I looked at the creative aspect. Why not create an artisan economy that would, solve the problem of, the infestation by having people harvest, which is a form of control, manually harvest the water hyacinth from the waterways, which is a form of manual control, and then equip the communities with skills to actually transform what they've harvested into goods that have a saleable value.
Her passion to drive change took her back to school, and she claims the journey, though challenging, has been worthwhile.
I was essentially starting from ground zero. And when you're starting from ground zero, you learn, you fail at some things, you succeed at others. And a lot had to do with building the capacity. And I tell folks, I love the creative economy or creative industry, but I'm not a creative by training. I'm more on the technical, so I have a technical background. So it was sort of reframing how I thought about things. I mean, it was all about providing a solution, but the hands-on. So I had to actually go to school to actually learn how to do the transformation, because ultimately I knew that I wanted to be able to impart knowledge. And for me to impart that knowledge, I had better be knowledgeable myself. So I actually went to the grassroots to learn how to weave. I knew what kind of aesthetic I wanted to create from all of this, but I needed the skill set myself.
Where there is a will, there is a way. This initiative demonstrates that what is trash to one could be cash to another. It's a matter of perception and creative mindedness. While Lagosians look forward to experiencing a better water transportation system and a decongested road network, we are all expected to play our part by impacting our environment positively. The kidnap of over 300 secondary school boys in Kankara, Katsina State, sent a shockwave across the length and breadth of the country, considering that some of the girls abducted in Chibok are still with their captors. Well, within a week of the incident, the boys were released and have reunited with their parents. We visited Kankara for an on-the-spot assessment of the mood over there.
Kankara is one of the largest local government in Katsina State. The people here are farmers of mainly cotton, maize, soybeans, and other produce, making the town strategically important. It is about 2 hours drive from the state capital.
In those days, most of the granite in Kankara goes to Kano. Then we have kaolin in Kankara. Kankara is well endowed by agriculture, by many resources, and the people are very hardworking.
However, banditry activities in many parts of Katsina State seems to have paralyzed agricultural activities and by extension businesses here. The unfortunate event of 11th December 2020 at the government-signed secondary school Kankara, which led to the abduction of over 300 schoolboys, remains a sad part of the history of Kankara.
United Nigeria, we stand! United Nigeria, we stand!
7 days after the abduction, the anxiety generated by the incident is finally over, following the release of the boys and their eventual arrival at the Katsina State Government House. Governor Aminu Masari, who receives the boys, expresses happiness over their successful rescue by a team of security operatives.
The professionalism that was shown and demonstrated during the efforts that culminated in the release of these 344 students of Kankara Government Science Secondary School.
This is followed by a reception by President Muhammadu Buhari, who was already in Daura even before the abduction. He shares with them some words of encouragement.
You children are very lucky. I hope you will be very careful because you're in a science school. Your success in future depends not on subjects like history or English, but technology.
For the anxious parents who are gathered at the state Hajj camp, it was a burst of sunshine to see their words again. Aftermath of the abduction, we are back in Kankara to feel the pulse of the town and also meet some of the boys rescued from abduction. They recount their experiences and ordeal suffered in the hands of their abductors.
After we do a long of journey to go there in the forest, then we sleep there. One day, and the next day they start shooting their guns. They say that they bring so many people. We are going a long of journey. We say that please stay here to sleep, even for 5 minutes. They say no sleep, which kind of sleep you want to do? We say please, only want to do for 5 minutes. They say no, let's go. One of them came with their clothes like soldiers one. They say who can speak English? Who can speak English? And one of us came and speak. They asked him to speak. They asked him to speak. They asked him to speak, and he speak. And then, if they want to give us food, they want to give us two groundnut cake only.
Some of the parents also share their plight and are still very emotional about the situation.
We're indeed happy that our children are finally back, and we believe this incident was a test from Almighty God. As for school, I will want to assure you that as soon as schools are open, I'll take my son back.
As for the district head of Kaitari, Alhaji Usman Kankara, the task now is to make sure that the children do not get discouraged in their quest to get educated.
If we don't provide security to the school, to dampen the morale of the parents whom you want children to go back to school. But if government provide enough security to certainly encourage the parents to bring back their children back to school. So I'm sure without being told, the government will surely sit down and mark out effectively more security for this Kankara science school, which we are very proud of it.
For now, residents in Kankara still gather to discuss what befell them. One thing is, however, sure, and that is their gratitude over the return of their children, who are gradually returning to their normal life.
If you desire to be the change in your community, then be part of the Eyewitness team by giving us blow-by-blow account of what's happening in your area. Simply take the shot and upload with relevant information to the Channels TV Eyewitness platform, which is available on the Channels TV app, downloadable from the various app stores online. Launch the app, check for the Eyewitness menu, and of course, tap and follow instructions on how to upload your story. It's quite simple. Now let's see what you already uploaded for the week. We'll begin with this first video from the Bolade Oshodi area of Lagos State. It shows a man whom our eyewitness reporter describes as a dispatched rider being harassed by people suspected to be thugs. Our eyewitness alleges that the thugs work with security operatives to extort the 14 motorcyclists. He wonders why they should harass a dispatched rider whom, according to him, are permitted to ply their trade. From Adedero village in Ogun State comes this set of images. It shows people protesting over poor state of the only link road. Our eyewitness also laments that the road is not just in bad shape, it has been blocked by a man who claims that a portion of land is his. Our eyewitness is worried that in spite of several complaints submitted to the state government agencies, nothing seems to have changed. He laments how the blockade is affecting school children, farming activities, and other areas of their lives. The next story takes us to Kayitoro, Ibejuleki area of Lagos State, where an ongoing demolition exercise by the Lagos State government is causing a lot of uproar. Our eyewitness says over 100 houses have been marked for demolition, despite the fact that they duly purchased the land from the right sources. They're calling on the Lagos State governor to wade into the recklessness by Newtown Development Authority. Finally is the issue of estimated bills sent out to consumers in Ojota, Ojodu, Lambe and other areas under Ikeja Electric. Our eyewitness says his bill was increased by over 400%. He cannot understand why. When he didn't get extra supply for the month, he calls it criminal and a scam. He wants the relevant authority to please intervene to save Nigerians from being unduly punished. Now, those are your shots. Do keep them coming. Next week, we'll be back again for another episode of Eyewitness Report. Till then, I am Chris Elems, and I'll keep my eyes on you.